Good afternoon. This is Dr. Bryson, and this is the first video for the course on Homeland Security, and this is for spring of the year 2023. In this first video, just want to talk about some philosophical foundations as we begin this semester. So I'm going to share my screen. So now you can see the title slide. So this is going to be the introduction to Homeland Security. But I want to point out something. Hopefully by now, you realize that myself, and based on my discussions with Dr. Harden, I think he does this as well, that we believe that the concept of the social contract was very important to the development of the U.S. criminal justice system, just as much as the political system. So Jean-Baptiste Rousseau, in his book titled The Social Contract, even though he was not the very first theorist, this is what he wrote. What man loses by the social contract is his natural liberty and an unlimited right to everything he tries to get and succeeds in getting. What he gains by the social contract, that is civil liberty and the proprietorship of all he possesses. Now remember, the social contract is this idea that people will give up some of their natural liberties in order to be safe, for the government to be able to protect them. So they're giving up natural liberties. Now, natural liberties, I want you to think about that. Remember the words of our founding fathers, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that there are certain inalienable rights, that among these rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So, quite frankly, the founding fathers, while they subscribed some to the social contract, the whole idea of the American experiment was to limit the social contract. In fact, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution were added specifically to make sure that the government's ability to control its people was limited for this very reason, because they eschewed the social contract. Here's why I believe this. Patrick Henry, to the King of England, give me liberty or give me death. In other words, life was not more important to liberty to him. And these were not idle words. These were true words. He was saying he is willing to sacrifice his life for liberty. Now, why is this important? Well, let's keep going on here. We'll find out here in just a second. Any society that will give up a little liberty to gain a little security will deserve neither and lose both. Now, this is more closely the way that Benjamin Franklin said this. But I want you to compare the first slide in these two sets of this set. Give me liberty or give me death. And then you don't deserve liberty or security if you're willing to give up liberty for security. Okay, so that's Benjamin Franklin. Now, why is that important? I was not quite 40 years old when the 9/11 attacks happened. I was living in Arizona, so it was much earlier in the day for us when the attacks occurred. And I happened to be getting ready to go to work. My wife was staying at home to be a stay-at-home mom at the time. Our son was getting close to his third birthday. Um, so I get, and she's babysitting some other kids during the day to supplement our income. So I get out of the bathroom. I'm ready to put my shoes on and go to work. And she said, so and so just dropped off his daughter, and he said that he heard on the radio that an airplane hit the World Trade Center. I said, well, was it a big airplane or a little airplane? Because even then, 21 and a half years ago, I knew that if it were a little airplane, it was probably an accident. If it were a jumbo jet, it was probably intentional. So we turned on the TV and they replayed the video that they were able to get of the first plane hitting the World Trade Center. And then they took us live to show us that one tower burning. And I saw on live television the second airplane hit. Now, about 3 to 4 months after that, no, it was about 2 months after that, once the skies were no longer clear in the U.S., in other words, once commercial flights were allowed to resume, I had to drive my wife to Sky Harbor Airport in Phoenix, Arizona, for her to fly home. I had to work, and she and our son were coming back to West Virginia to visit our family. I drove to the airport. I looked Palestinians in them, so they pulled me over. They put the mirrors under my van to make sure I didn't have any bombs under there. They put me through the ringer because they thought I was Palestinian. Well, if you didn't know, I'm part Jewish, part Sephardic Jewish, meaning my Jewish ancestor immigrated to the U.S., and this would have been before even World War I, but immigrated to the U.S. From the Sephardic region that in Spain and bordered France. So technically, Jewish people are from Palestine originally as well. So yeah, I look Palestinian, but so they just assumed that I might be a terrorist. Now, this might seem like a small thing, but I said to my wife, I'm not allowed to go with you to the gate now and say goodbye. Okay, I'm not allowed to watch you all leave. With all these terrorist attacks that have happened, what if another one happens when you're on an airplane? That would be the last time we are able to talk with each other. Now it's going to be outside, me just dropping you off from the van. And here's what she said: I'm willing to give up my rights at airports so that we can prevent terrorist attacks, so that I can feel safer. Basically, is what she said. Now, let's compare this. Give me liberty or give me death. Any society that will give up a little liberty to gain a little security will deserve neither and lose both. Now, that was 21 and a half years ago. And little by little, we gave up some of our freedoms that, are not guaranteed in the Constitution, and I get that. But freedoms are part of our liberty, right? So we gave up a little more of our freedoms so that we could feel safe from terrorism. Okay, so I want you to think about that as we go through this class. All right? Because what we're doing, all of these rights that we're giving up as part of routine activities theory. In other words, routine activities theory is the theory that's providing the impetus for all of these changes. Even those folks that are making these policies, that support these policies, that don't even know that they're following routine activities theory, they're still following. Go through this semester, we're going to look at how we do Homeland Security, as well as does terrorism really work? That's a question that we're going to argue about. I want everybody to argue about this. Okay, so I am now going to stop the screen share and come back to the screen. by now you probably know what my stance is. See, I think we gave up small freedoms then, and then for those folks, for those of you who are watching this video that were angry at the government's response, both statewide and for every state across the country, even some cities, and then the federal response to COVID and how you felt that your rights were being violated. When we look at some of the more frequent gun laws that come after the school shootings, the gun laws are not going to prevent school shootings. They're going to make us feel safer, but they will not prevent a school shooting from happening. So in many of the things that we do to protect ourselves from terrorism are likely just not going to protect us from terrorism. But you're going to have a chance to look at that yourself, form your own conclusions as we go through our readings and look at things throughout this semester. I'm going to end this video, and we will see you next time.